Ask Tom on Home Show.
Kim from Los Angeles has a question about flooding.
Well, it's about our neighbor. They live right here. See how close that neighbor is? You know, she's worried
Pretty typical for California.
Well, the property line, and the other thing is I want you to look real careful at that driveway as we read the question here, okay? Kim says, their ficus roots are coming to the foundation of my 100-year bungalow. They grow ficus trees outside there. Just to give you an idea. It's Los Angeles. Anyway, she says, my neighbor here, let me go back to that house because I got to show you. I've got a picture of it closer up. You can see behind there. Hang on, I got it right here. You go down behind, you can see how tight that thing is. It's like 22 inches apart from the fence to her chimney, right? And she says that's how close the chain link fence comes, and they won't move it to the property line. So I think she's got another issue that they've built this driveway and they've moved this thing across the property line. They've got a problem. So she's wondering why, if this isn't why her porch has cracks down, what can she do with this drainage issue from her neighbor?
Well, first off, drainage in any area, tight areas like that, and we have some areas in Houston like West U and stuff where it gets really tight. All the water has to drain to the street. You can't drain onto your neighbor's property. So if there's a problem like that, and I know in California, they're heavily regulated, if anybody hadn't realized, and so you probably could go to the building department and they would do an inspection and find out what the problem is. But here's her rights. If anything is on her property, and that means, let's start with the ficus trees. If the ficus trees even overhang 1/2 onto her property, she can have those chopped right off, right along her property line, and nobody can do a dang thing about it. Might even kill the tree, doesn't matter. If that fence is on her property, she can have someone come out and just take it down. Or if she wants to move it, she can move it to her property line, and that's what she's allowed to do. Now, what this seems to me is somebody doesn't want to pay the bill to go ahead and move this stuff around, including the fence. And so that's a neighbor to neighbor who's going to pay for it kind of thing. But that's really typical for the California area, especially in Los Angeles where it's so tight and property is such a premium. Now, luckily it doesn't rain a lot, so I don't know how much rain she's getting in LA because it doesn't rain in California like they say. So I would tell you that the bottom line is this: the trees, could it be hurting her house? Probably not the ficus roots. I don't think they're going to be that bad. They don't have expansive clays like we do in other parts of the country. I think it's a lot of shade, and there's probably a lot of dampness on that side, which could cause the paint to peel off the house and things of that nature. But if it's on her property, she has every right to take it off, whether they like it or not. And then there's always Judge Judy.
Albert Hammond is who
Albert Hammond
sang that song. Never Rains in California.
Oh, see, I knew you trailed off by looking at your picture here. So when I must have said that, it must have been.
I was going.
That was
like,
it. Yeah,
I'm going to the
listening to the song. But
every now and then, one of those brings out the old DJ in me. Okay.
When I was a kid, that song freaked me out. How could it never rain
in California? I know.
To think that.
And little green apples don't, and it don't rain in Indianapolis in the summertime. I mean, it's like there's a lot of those kind of songs that mess with you. And what about? I mean, you want real weather terror? What about It's Raining Men? Holy! I mean, I'm not going outside.
Okay, I'm not going there, but I do know I eat lemons. I don't think the fruit is not so sweet.
Wow, we are really
Treaty Lopez. Okay.
Aren't you glad you watched the show today? All right. Yes. You got a question, we'd be happy to answer it for you. Go visit there at HomeShowRadio.com. Click on the blue button, fill it out, send it in, and we'll answer it. Oh, and so much more. And we post a new one of these things every day at HomeShowRadio.com, our YouTube channel, and, of course, on Facebook.